Good afternoon, everybody, and I apologise for the slightly late start. Welcome to this webinar, which is another in our Thursday afternoon series, where I'll be showing you the concept of optimising productivity in your businesses to maximise profitability, talking about productivity to profit without the awkward conversations, the meaning of which will become apparent as we work through the presentation. My name is Linda Garcia, and I'm really pleased to be welcoming you on this afternoon during holiday season. And without further ado, let me share my screen with you. So productivity to profit without the awkward conversations is a short presentation to highlight some of the pain points we all experience managing the teams in our business to make sure we get the best value for money out of them without treating them like robots, and a twist solution at the end. We'll be together for just over 20-25 minutes, and there will be an opportunity to ask any questions at the end via the chat window that you can log into via Facebook, Google+, Twitter, whichever account you'd like to use, and that will be available, and we'll be answering any questions that do pop up during the process. But if you have any burning questions, put them up straight away and I'll answer them all at the end. As a thank you for joining me this afternoon, we're offering our complimentary ebook, Conquering Barriers to Business Growth. This is the essential guide to starting up and growing your business to avoid some of the common pitfalls which cause so many businesses to fail within their early years of trading. And I'll provide the link to the download this at the end of the webinar. But first of all, here's a brief overview of Aluxi Consulting Limited and what it is we do. Aluxi is a carefully chosen company name reflecting the benefits we bring to businesses working with us. It's a Latin verb meaning to give or supply light, shine light on, or to show the opportunity that exists. So figuratively speaking, it's having someone come into your business and throwing light into those dark corners to illuminate the opportunities that exist to improve, which may not be obvious when you can't always see the wood for the trees. Of course, many people perceive that business consultants to be an unnecessary evil, or at best an expensive luxury. But there is one phrase coined by the late Arthur Nielsen, the American who put marketing research on the map, that I feel summarizes beautifully the advantages of bringing in an expert with a fresh pair of eyes and a different perspective into your business in the short term. Arthur Nielsen said that the price of light is less than the cost of darkness. That hidden opportunity may be costing you more than the price of finding it and adding more value to your bottom line. So a Aluxi solution should be an investment, not a cost to your business. As a business productivity specialist, Aluxi works with ambitious business owners to optimize the productivity of your existing resources, maximize the profitability and the future sustainability of your organization. As the founder of Aluxi, I recognize the importance of being a credible expert in our industry. I am a chartered manager and a fellow of the Chartered Management Institute, for which I had to demonstrate having at least 10 years in applying the skills and expertise in my field through an extremely demanding framework of competencies. And in 2016, I was very pleased and proud to receive the accolade of Professional Achievement of the Year at the Kent Independent Traders Awards. So let's move on to the issues and that proverbial elephant in the room of most businesses: productivity to profit without the awkward conversations, or what I like to call the Great British Productivity Swindle. Here at Aluxi, we don't mince our words, and this webinar will give you a flavour of what we're all about. I'll kick off straight away with some of the alarming headlines from British industry over the last decade that have left us squeaming and squirming uncomfortably in our seats. So you'll probably all remember, okay, just got a slight technical hitch here. The British banking industry went into a major meltdown during the recession, with the Royal Bank of Scotland CEO Ross McEwan admitting the public were quite right to be outraged by the 421 million bonus payments made to top executives after 7 straight years of losses. There was another sharp intake of the public's breath, which was caused by what I call the Tesco Gate retail reality. If any of you remember that, Tesco overstated its half-yearly profit forecast by 263 million and paid out bonuses on targets that may not have even been met. Paul Mason of the Channel 4 News said of that Tesco debacle, "It took a whistleblower to do what no auditor, director or regulator had done. Tesco's profits were being inflated by accounting practices that did not reflect reality." And what I find even more poignant to our topic of awkward conversations, Paul Mason continued in his commentary, "If a few more people had been confrontational at an earlier stage, instead of conforming to our polite insider culture that dominates British corporate culture, this might look less like the giant mess it has become." These situations arise when the key people in the organisation are not taking responsibility or being held accountable. These are just 2 scenarios, and obviously the ones that hit the headlines hardest. Bad news always travels fast after all. But how widespread is the problem? Well, the Bank of England statistics have shown that the majority of growth in recent years has been derived from increasing the hours worked in businesses rather than any active increase in efficiency. In the private sector, employees are producing no more per hour than a decade ago. So this basically means that companies have been creating jobs and buying in more staff, but their outputs have not increased at the same rate. We're basically diluting the productivity. So Britain's output per hour is currently 22% lower than both the USA and France, and 26% lower than in Germany. The impact of this for the UK economy is eroding our competitive edge against our European counterparts, which could have a devastating effect once we're Brexited, for example. In April this year, The Guardian's economic editor, Larry Elliott, wrote that the UK is 16% less productive than other G7 nations. He also quoted Steve Hill, the External Engagement Director at the Open University, as saying that the UK's productivity will keep falling behind other developed countries, and this is unlikely to improve unless firms invest properly in training. The Chartered Management Institute published the results of a quite damning survey that they conducted based on the pay of 70,000 managers, which highlighted that a third of underperforming bosses were awarded bonuses. They summarised that there are too many managers reaping the rich rewards of their positions despite being poor performers. And going back to our theme of awkward conversations, they concluded that it seems a lot easier to reward poor performance than to face the awkwardness of difficult conversations with underperforming staff. And therein lies the crux of the problem. Human nature is to take the easier, non-confrontational path, and quite rightly so. This is further evidenced by some more alarming statistics, this time from ACAS. ACAS are obviously well placed to understand the conflict and issues that arise through poor management, as they deal with thousands of cases a year, working with British organisations to improve employer and employee relations. As we see this deterioration in management skills and abilities, this has consequential effects on the workforce itself. ACAS identified that poor performance was cited as an issue in 9 out of 10 disciplinary hearings, including failing to meet work targets, not having enough work to do, inaccurate work, wasting work materials, poor customer service, and even failure or refusal to follow instructions and an unwillingness to take responsibility. We need managers to be preventing the possibility of ending up in disciplinary hearings. This costs your business time, money, and emotional stress. Leaders and managers must eliminate the need for those awkward conversations. and we'll look more at how we can improve on this later. So what are employees doing as a consequence of this poor management skill base, and how is it impacting your business? Let's take a closer look at what's happening on the front line. In 2016, another survey of full-time office workers was carried out, which fuels the ongoing debate around the UK's productivity problem, and the results are quite alarming, demonstrating that office workers especially are devout procrastinators. The company surveyed full-time office workers across the country, all of whom work approximately 7.5 hours a day, and admit to wasting time on non-work related tasks. The staff surveyed admitted to spending on average only 5 of their 7.5 hours on official work duties, which when boiled down to the impact of this procrastination on your business, that's a 33% of the salary you're paying them down the proverbial drain, I apologise. Even more worryingly, the top 5 things that workers do instead of working included things such as checking social media, internet shopping and paying bills online, watching YouTube, online videos, including adult movies, talking to other colleagues, which obviously instantly doubles the amount of downtime, or browsing forums and message boards. And as you can see from the percentages, it's not a minority. We're looking at between 65% and 89% of those surveyed admitting to these activities. These are just the top 5, and the list is extensive. The question was then asked as to why employees waste time at work. And I'll invite you to maybe message me now in the chat box what you think the key reason for this level of disengagement might have been. The gut reaction would probably be that low pay or feeling they're not being paid enough in their job would be the main contributing factor. But in fact, the top reasons given were 53% consider that short breaks increase productivity, which arguably would depend on your definition of a short break. And 35% cited being bored, lacking motivation, or being dissatisfied with their job. Interestingly, only 2% thought that they're not paid enough, which is a positive aspect insofar as we can start to address these issues without it costing us more in salaries to re-engage with our employees. One last survey, the question put to the employees is how they would react if caught out or confronted about their time wasting. Over a half, or 58%, weren't worried about this at all, and 1 in 5 said that their bosses didn't actually mind so long as their work was done. How can this be happening? Why are employees so demotivated that they don't think twice about admitting to wasting these levels of time? In my years of experience in the field, and not just here in the UK, but in industries all over the globe, I have spent thousands of hours observing how people behave in the workplace and studying the positive impact properly managing people to improve performance can have. From this, I've come to conclude that there are 3 painful truths we can attribute this despondency to. And no, the answer is not taking them all through disciplinary hearings, obviously. The painful truth number 1 is the business itself. In the early years of starting up and growing the business, few business owners have the know-how to set up adequate management systems to measure productivity or work objectively. There's also a lack of the correct KPIs or key performance indicators, which means that performance can't be measured. And if you've read any of my blogs, and you'll know my mantra is, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. The second painful truth is the managers themselves. We're probably all conscious of the best worker or most productive worker often being the one that is promoted to the managerial position, which invariably ends up with that manager not knowing how to manage a team, and a team who's now underperforming because the best worker has been promoted upwards. This can't be blamed on the manager. They are not at fault here. The government has woken up to the realisation that in the UK, businesses are not training and developing our management. We're not upskilling and giving them the tools to do their jobs properly. Managers are not trained to set expectations, standards of work, or how to motivate employees to perform. And invariably, we're also then seeing that they lack the people skills to communicate, delegate, and constructively challenge poor performance. Therefore, the painful truth number 3 is that the employees don't know what is expected of themselves, and ipso facto, they don't know whether they're being productive or not. At the end of the day, if the employees are allowed to sit around and waste a third of their day surfing the internet, chatting to their mates on their mobiles, and watching adult porn online, God forbid, then we can only blame ourselves as their employers for not creating a working environment which stimulates them to engage, and ongoing day-to-day management to nurture them in achieving their goals and stimulating them towards greater job satisfaction. What could this lack of training and development of your management be costing your business? Going back to that 33% of their working day that these employees admitted to wasting away, based on the cost to the employer of an average UK salary of £28,000, those underperformers could be costing you up to £11,500 each every year. If you've got 10 of those in the business, that's over £100,000 in lost productivity, and over £1 million if you've got 100 employees all being managed in the same way. Overall, the government statistics estimated that the UK's lack of productivity is costing industry £19 billion a year. Now, if you're sitting there with your head in your hands, let me offer you solutions to these fundamental business dilemmas. Mastering productivity and optimizing performance to maximize your profits is a very simple formula and forms the basis of the Eluxite ethos. At the end of the day, every business wants to improve its profits. This ensures your future wealth as the business owner, the organization's future sustainability, and therefore the security of all those employed in the business. The only thing you can do differently to influence or impact the results on the bottom line is by generating a behavior change in the people tasked with running and working in your business. Behavior change necessarily requires a two-pronged attack, and you can't have one without the other. To be effective, you need to implement two things. On the technical side, systems, the technicalities of how you manage your business to provide a framework and a structure of best practice, ensuring the employees work to an acceptable level of both output and quality. That then has to be complemented by training, or the tactical approach to ensure the staff and culture of your business are aligned and openly engaged in taking the business towards its goals. Most of the dilemmas facing leaders and managers in any industry today are answered through the Eluxite Leadership and Management Development Programme, which we're very proud to say is recognised as meeting the National Occupational Standards by the Chartered Management Institute. This programme is very different to most training courses, and hence the reason I deliberately avoid calling it training. The programme delivers the tools and the techniques, the skills and competencies required of business owners, executives, managers, or even supervisors at any level of the business. We work with the participants to demonstrate how the theory can be applied in practice. You take it away each session and work on implementing the tools and techniques in the workplace, and we come back to the drawing board and review your progress session by session to gradually embed new behaviours and practices. It's a bit like starting a new fitness regime, and Eluxite is your personal trainer. To provide an overview of the programme and its wider objectives, the programme content can be seen in two parts, and this doesn't represent the order of the sessions, but the technical content, which includes things such as demonstrating how systems and training are both necessary and cannot achieve results independently of each other. We focus on the benefits of systems and training in achieving a continuous performance and the principles needed in a business for performance management. And I don't mean the annual appraisals. This is a continuous process. We can look at designing and implementing effective management control systems and understanding the characteristics of an effective management control system and learn how to apply that in practice for your continuous improvement. We look at understanding how to measure productivity. What is the difference between productivity, utilization, efficiency, and effectiveness, which are all words that are bandied around, but do we really understand what each of them means and how they're different from each other? And establishing standards of time for task management is essential. And then understanding key performance indicator reporting to bring it all together. The soft or the tactical skills will show you the challenges of behavior change, understanding the barriers that adults experience in doing things differently, the agony curve, as I like to call it. We acknowledge the dangers of perception and assumption in the business environment. And then we look at what is a manager and a leader, agreeing the definition of a manager and the key skills that are required to succeed in managing and leading teams. That would need us to be defining our key responsibilities and how these can translate into measurable performance indicators. Time and task management, analysing what causes our inefficiencies, what do we procrastinate over, and how can we learn to prioritise our tasks to achieve our objectives. And we will be determining what is the ideal day in the life of a manager, what should that look like? And then analysing your current leadership styles, your effective management techniques, and how this impacts your leadership effectiveness. Understanding how to use a mix of styles to achieve objectives and the desired levels of performance from the people under your responsibility. Effective communication and action meetings are key to driving the management control system. So we'll look at how to run those effectively. What is the ideal agenda for a continuous improvement meeting within the business at each level of the organisation? And then we learn how to manage people effectively through the persuasion, the negotiation, the positive confrontation skills, and key people management. In terms of the program benefits that you will be receiving, it delivers a wide range of benefits, including the Eluxi Toolbox, building your portfolio of the tools, the templates and techniques for you to take away and apply in the workplace. It's a true process of knowledge transfer. Being recognised by the Chartered Management Institute, the programme also benefits from a 12-month affiliate membership for each participant, which brings you 12 months access to the CMI's Management Direct online library and resource centre, participation in the CMI Achieve Mentor programme, networking opportunities and benefits, and the CMI CPD online learning and recording facility, so you can have a constant log of your own CPD. As the course does qualify for 18 hours of CPD for your employee records. All of that is worth £1,000 in itself, and all participants are awarded the CMI Certificate of Attendance on completion of the programme. When the tools and the techniques delivered during the programme are applied in practice, your business will benefit from being able to measure and manage more closely the levels of productivity. You will benefit from a culture of continuous improvement where everyone's mindset is aligned to finding the best practice and working towards the overall business objectives. And it will develop a culture of objective, fair and factual management rather than trying to function on gut feel, perception and assumption, which generally end up in those awkward conversations with staff due to so much ambiguity in the workplace that we're trying to eliminate and avoid. All of that amounts to tangible financial profit improvements on your bottom line. Wouldn't that make a difference in your business? Can you begin to get a sense of the possible gains your management team will achieve given the right development opportunities? So if you'd like to involve yourself or your staff on the programme, the first course is being launched in September of this year, with sessions being held fortnightly on Mondays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The dates are on screen, It's necessary to allow 10 to 14 days between each date, as you'll be going away with tasks to immediately start applying in your working day, and so that we can debrief and feedback once you've had the chance to put them into practice. The venue is the Clydesdale Bank Building at the Kim's Hospital, which is conveniently located just off junction 7 of the M20 in Maidstone in Kent, and the course runs up to the 27th of November, finishing just in time before the Christmas period. The programme fees are competitively priced for our launch this year at just £1,350 for plus VAT for participants. If you are a member of the FSB, the Federation of Small Businesses, or you should subscribe to the Supply My Business community, we are offering the discounted rate of £999 plus VAT. And bespoke programs can be delivered in-house at your place of work or in your business at special rates if you have a team that you would like to train and put through the program, and that would be then tailored to your specific business needs. The program can accommodate up to 12 participants, so numbers are limited. So if this has whetted your appetite to know more and you're interested in participating on the course, simply complete the online form at productivity-to-profit.aluxi.co.uk/expression and complete the online form, and we'll call you with further details on how to book your place. This link is available in the chat room, so you can just click on it there. And finally, as promised at the start of the webinar, and as a thank you for joining me, if you would like to receive the complimentary ebook, Conquering Barriers to Business Growth, just go to productivity-to-profit.aluxi.co.uk/barriers-business-growth. Complete the details, and the link to download the PDF will be sent to you by email. And rest assured, we hate spam too, so your details will not be used for any other purpose other than forwarding you your download or communicating with you regarding your interest in coming onto the programme. Now, all that remains is for me to invite any questions you may have. If you have anything you'd like to know or you'd like to add to the topic this afternoon, my contact details are on screen now. If you want to email me or call me by telephone, that's not a problem at all. And all that remains is me to say thank you very much to everyone, and I look forward to hearing from you in the very near future, and have a very productive afternoon. Goodbye.